of a little memento for a few people. We're going to start with the late Shri Kishori Amulkar, because she is the great voice of Maharashtra. She's sung some of the most beautiful traditional Maharashtrian songs. She's not here anymore, but we're going to ask Ms. Sri Dalmia to accept the award on her behalf, and it shall be sent to her sister soon. I'd like to invite on stage the wonderful His Royal Highness Maharaja Samarjit Singh. Would you like to please honor us with your presence on the stage for a while? Like I said, friends, I've had many speeches put together, and I just felt it's a lot nicer to have the person speak about themselves, because that is really the purest form. And Mike is on to you.
Well, I'm really delighted to be here this evening, and I have to compliment Mr. Dalmia for the wonderful work that he's been doing for years. Uday just briefed me about all that you've been doing and all that history that you actually spoke to us, which is enlightening. Of course, given this occasion, I have to speak about my family and its contribution to India, and it's considering that we were part of princely India then, and we had to, some considered us as the slaves of the British then. But my illustrious great-great-grandfather, Maharaja Sayajirao, was one of those special rulers at that point in time who was very clear that India had to be free, and the British had to go away. Of course, he sponsored a lot of Indian national movement. Just one example I can cite is when Gandhiji began his Dandi March, and he was then to pass through Baroda. The British sent a directive to him saying that the minute he steps into Baroda state, and Baroda state was fragmented, right from Navsari Vihara till Dwarka was where Baroda state was. He said the minute he steps into Baroda, you have to get hold of him, put him behind bars. And Sayajirao, with his clear thinking process, sent one of his close family relatives the previous night and advised Gandhiji that you don't step into Baroda, you take this route, which he did. And of course, he didn't have to then get hold of him. Another thing, of course, was people like Ambedkar were sponsored by him, his education. Sri Aurobindo was Maharaja Sayajirao private secretary, and of course went on to become a great freedom fighter. Thereafter, of course, Sayajirao passed away in 1939 and couldn't see independent India. But when independent India did take place, it was my grandfather, and I can proudly state that we were one of the first states to join the new India at that time.
Having a lot of weavers, does a lot of work for the empowerment of women, and I would like to hand this over to her to speak further about the work she's doing.
Thank you, Dalmia ji, and everyone here present for having us. Yes, it's been an honor and privilege to be married into the family that I am. It's always been visionary. Not being a Maratha myself, being a Rajput, being married into a Maratha family, the first thing I noticed was how important the role of the woman is. The woman has always been very, very strong, opinionated, and credible in the household of Marathas. And that has always been one of the focuses of the Gaikwads from very early on.
Hello.
Thank you so much. Really, thank you so much for that insight.
The one point we've all forgotten, we've discussed history, art, culture, but the incredible politicians from Maharashtra across the board, and I'm not going to mention them because a lot of them are not even from our party, but irrespective, I think that trait of absolute political acumen from Maharashtra is something to also accept.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yes, we need a round of applause for Shaina's insight and her information about the politicians from Maharashtra. I'd like to invite on stage Srimant Vijendra Rao Ghadge. He's from Sakal Junior, from another state in Maharashtra, the field of designing clothes and costumes. Right now coming up with a movie about Maharashtrian culture. I'd like to call on stage Nachiket Barve, who is Maharashtrian. Nachiket, would you please say a few words?
Well, I wasn't prepared for this.
Yes, that's the beauty.
Yeah, I think what a wonderful spot where you can see the whole, the bay from here. And I think, as we all sort of become increasingly more global and we sort of take on the world, I think it's equally important to acknowledge and celebrate your roots because they make you who you are. And you sort of derive strength from that in an increasingly homogenized world. So I feel very proud to be a Maharashtrian. I feel proud to be a Mumbaikar and to be at this platform to be, a part of this wonderful gathering.
We're so happy to have you. May I request on stage somebody who's a legend in the field of design and somebody who's just created history on her own, who's a true Mumbaikar, Pallavi Jaikishan. I think for Nachiket to receive an award from her is absolutely the most appropriate thing.
Such an honor. Yes.
Do you have a mic?
Thank you.
God, I really am surprised and shocked. I'm really honored being here today, and it's a wonderful evening, and I wish everyone well, especially my friend here.
I'll just add to that. I think we have it so easy nowadays, and I think what Pallavi Auntie has been doing for years, and really she set the ball rolling, and we learned so much. So thank you for that legacy.
I'd like to call on stage another very, very lovely young lady who's very, very achieved. Now, we have spoken about all the big industries of the field and the industrialists, royalty, politicians, and all professions. But there is a profession which I hail from, which I started my life and my career from, that is as being a model. It is very difficult, it is very tough. Nothing trains you, nothing prepares you, you don't know where you can go, where you should go, where you can take your life, and it's very limited, very restricted. It doesn't seem like there's too much, but we have amongst us a really wonderful young lady who I'm so proud to call on. She is the only Indian girl who's been the first person to walk the ramp. You people might think it's not a big deal, but it is a huge deal. She's walked on the international runways with some of the biggest designers and done our country proud. Vijwala Rao. I'm dying to hear some Marathi, so please go for it. Say something.
This is a surprise. कारण मला सांगितलं नव्हतं की असं होणार आहे. पण मला खूप गर्व वाटते की आपण साधे सिंपल लोक आहे. माझे वडील पोलीस होते, तर माझी 4 बहिणी आहे आणि आम्ही सगळेजण we grew up around cops. So we've seen everything that possibly we could see. Why? There's not much Marathi. Oh, sorry. Anyways, I am a retired ACP cop's daughter, We are from a family of 5 girls. So fortunately, we have a lot of professions in our house, from doctors to teachers to cop to model to actress, to a lot of professions. And I feel that nobody told me when I was thrown in this industry, but people like Aarti, Kailash, Times, Verve, everybody that I've met in 20 years have been so genuinely honest and loving and caring and have nurtured me and taken me under their wings. And today I'm here because of all of them. Thank you and my family.
I'd like to call on stage somebody who was kind of instrumental in that tiny little step that Ujjwala took, but that tiny step was a big step. And you could be accused of a little bit of favoritism, but it is Kailash, my husband, who spotted Ujjwala in a crowd of girls for the elite look of the year. And she was this really shy, almost terrified girl, sitting in a corner in a large room full of how many? I think maybe about 70, 80 girls who were shortlisted as finalists. And he just spotted her and said, this girl has what it's going to take to make it. And there she is, right here. Kailash, could you say a few words? And then you give it.
Thank you for calling me. I'm a Maharashtrian. I'm born in Bombay. I've spent my life here. I love this city. I love this state. And I've spent my life here. I've made my life here working. I think I've been making films, advertising. I've been doing films for the country, in national integration, Maratha, the Freedom Torch, quite a lot of stuff which you might have seen. And I'm really proud to be from here. Maybe, my roots are from somewhere else, from Lahore, from Punjab, my parents from Kashmir. But I'm from here and I love it. Thank you.
No, side me still.
I know everyone's getting a little restless, though it's been an interesting evening. I must tell you, 99% of it has really been impromptu. I'd like to mention to all of you that we have some absolutely gorgeous coins, and there's a pagri tie. I have to read this out. He's
थोड़ा तो कभी बात के लिए भी रखना पड़ेगा ना, सब इतने एरिया में सब नहीं करना। अब जय से पूछिए, जय ने ये तो दिखा दिया, ये तो एक हुनर था उसका, ये फेस रीडिंग कर ली, राइटिंग भी पहचानती है और राइटिंग से भी बता देगी आप कैसे हैं, और बहुत हुनर है इसमें। तो अब इनसे ही समझिए कि और क्या क्या चीज़ इनके छिपी हुई है जो
I think we should all, have dinner together and enjoy. I think that is it. बहुत हो गया.
Thank you, everybody.